With loads of business advice flooding the industry, it has never been harder to see the path to success. And you can't take action if you don't have clarity. Get clear on the actionable tips and strategies that will help to scale your business here on Masters in Clarity, the podcast that brings you clarity around messaging, business growth, digital marketing, personal development, and the business owner's journey to success. Let's join our guide, the master of turning clarity into action and lasting impact, Dolores Hirschmann.
I am so excited to introduce you to Julie Foucht, who teaches female coaches, teachers, and healers who are frustrated with traditional formulas and they want to build six-figure businesses that honor their feminine essence. I think you really want to tap into this episode with Julie because I'm going to dig deep into what does it look like to be a woman business owner. Is there a different type of work we need to explore? Is there something special around our own inner divine feminine that can benefit our business? Come in and listen to the episode with Julie, and you want to learn a few things about how to be the most powerful, effective woman business owner. I am so excited to have Julie as a guest today. And just for those who like backstories and, the backstage stories of these recordings, Julie and I had a great conversation and recording, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago, and we were doing great. And then my internet shut down and we had to reschedule. So here we are, take two. Julie, welcome to the Masters in Clarity podcast. So let's jump right into it. Tell us about your clarity journey or confusion journey or messy journey. But how did you get to today?
I love the way you phrase that because I was thinking about this before we jumped on and I thought, wow, the clarity journey really is messy. It's not a straight line. And I think that's part of what we came here as human beings to experience. We didn't come here to be perfect and, live a already laid out plan. We came here to learn and be messy. So my journey really started with being raised in a family where the boys were taught how to get along in the world and the girls were taught how to be taken care of in the world. And my dad actually said those words to me as a grown-up. I was like, wow, thanks. So what that meant was I married my high school boyfriend who didn't know how to be a grown-up. So it became abusive. And I justified it because it was like, well, he's never left a visible mark and I've never had to go to the hospital. And I could never raise my kids on my own because I never finished college. And so this journey started with me really hiding who I was, hiding what was really important to me, hiding my own identity in order to survive in these two places where being a powerful, strong, outspoken woman created physical danger for me. And I got to the point in my marriage where I couldn't stay anymore. I was actually in meditation and I was talking with my highest self. And she said to me, and I said, how do I stay in this marriage? And she said, or I said, can I stay in this marriage? And she said, you always have choice. You can stay and you'll die, or you can leave and learn to live a life. And that was really a shocking thing because my conversations with my highest self at that point had been very loving and kind and healing. And to hear, oh, no problem, stay and you'll die. I really had to take that and wrap my head around it and realize she was true, that not only was I killing the soul of who I was, but that physically at some point, my body was going to take me out. And so I started on this journey and I stepped out and I learned that I could make money. Who knew? And I learned that I could take care of myself and the children who were still left at home. And I started to feel this real passion for making sure that other women had money, because I started to realize that money is choice. And when you have money, you have the choice of who you want to be in relationship with, right? You don't stay because you're afraid. And I was always afraid that I would lose my kids because I didn't have the money. When you have money, you have the choice of where you want to spend the money. You have the choice of charities you're going to support and causes that are important to you. And the more money you have, the more choice that you have. So I was looking for a way to make that happen when I found coaching.
And so let's go there. So and there's a lot of experiences and examples out there that we know and we have witnessed of people who go through the other side, right? Overcome a challenge and then look back and said, there's a lot of Julies that are in the old Julie position who are stuck in marriages or in jobs or in situations that because they don't have, they can't see that they can. They can't see that there's a way, that there's a choice. They really are, anybody who feels trapped is they don't feel that there's a choice. And you just said it, there's always a choice. And I know you translated your journey and then your expertise, and you went back to school and you studied and you prepared yourself. And now you do something powerful. So let's shift and let's talk about your work. You turned your mess into you've monetized your mess. So what does that look like right now? And what's the impact?
Yeah, that's a really great question. When I started my coaching practice way back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, because I've been doing this thing for almost 20 years now. And I really said, well, I just want to help women. I will coach any woman. And if there's a man that wants to hire me, I'll make an exception, right? I didn't really have a niche. And what I discovered was that part of the joy for me was helping women build businesses. And it really was in finding clarity. It's part of that is really around listening. Does this bring me joy? Does this make my heart open? Does my body get excited? Because those are messages from your soul that say, yes, you are on the right path. So I coach this lovely woman. I still communicate with her, but every time I get off the phone, I think, why does she not want a business? And at that point, I realized I should only coach women who want a business, really. And, there's been these realizations all the way down the road. I have chosen to help women accumulate and flow, because it's meant to be in flow more money by helping women entrepreneurs, and more specifically, helping the leaders, helping the women who want to help other women to have the money to do the work that they want to do. I do that with one-on-one coaching. I do that with small groups. I love doing group work because then we get to use the energy of the whole group to create something. I've developed with my photographer this process, system, whatever we call it, this thing we do, where first I teach women how to create really authentic marketing that speaks to the emotions and to the head of the client. And then we take them out and we create marketing photos with them. And we do shadow work, and we photograph fears, and we photograph shadows, and we photograph pain, because that's part of marketing. The first part of marketing is to recognize that your people are in pain and they want the solution. And then we photograph the women in their goddess. We photograph the other side of that when they are powerful. And then I teach them to take that and create marketing. I don't know if this is the question you
Yes, and it is. And because here's the thing is that what you're answering in so many layers. So, when we talk about your work, you talk about, okay, I help women start or grow their business. Your women are entrepreneurs. I'm assuming most of them are service professionals. They either have a business that is solopreneur or small teams, right?
Absolutely.
And so, but I love that in this space, and we're very clear on the space that we're talking about, the small business owners that are doing that, they are, for the most part, they are the product.
Yes.
And what happens when, let's be very specific, when women are the product, it taps into, because this is my experience. I had 3 businesses where I was not the product. I ran a school, and then I ran a fashion company where we sold clothing, and I was the founder of the company, but I wasn't the product. But when I became the product of my own company, oh boy, everything came out. And so I love that you're talking about, the journey of marketing for a woman entrepreneur who is the face and the product is not about to tap into and show the diva goddess side. We have a lot of those, and that type of marketing is not real and is not engaging, because why would I hire someone who never was challenged, who has everything perfect, who I will be embarrassed to share my imperfection, my self-doubt, my fear, my imposter syndrome.
Exactly.
But what you're talking about is you guide your women to show up for marketing in a courageous, transparent, I want to say the word naked way, so that they can but so that the audience, their ideal audience, those women in pain can relate. It's about relationship marketing.
It's relationship. It's very authentic. It's very true to the women. And I want to say that if the women were still in that place, nobody would want to hire that. What we show is,
and they wouldn't hire you, but
right,
because we wouldn't have the courage to do the work you're asking them to do.
Right. What happens is when we do those wounded photos is that the women actually get it out of their bodies and they heal. So it's really healing work. I need to say this is your marketing as well. So they heal, they get these marketing pictures, and then the next photo shoot, because we do 2 days of photo shoots, the next photo shoot is, what does it look like on the other side? What does it look like to drop the masks and the wounds and the shoulds and what society says and just be you? And that experience it's empowering. It's so empowering. And it's not, here's the formula that XYZ guru says you have to do. It's really about discovering, oh, this is who I really am when I tapped into my highest self. Here's who I was in my wound. And I can take my clients on that journey.
And they can tell the story.
And they can tell the story. And so that becomes this really powerful, not only experience for the women who go through the program, but it also becomes a powerful experience for the women that they are meant to serve, or the people that they are meant to serve.
Do you have an example, like the name of one client who came to you in this situation and walked away in that situation?
Let me see if I can do it and keep confidentiality.
Yeah, you don't have to use her name. Yes, our client.
And actually, if you go to my website, juliefoucht.com, and you look at work for me, scroll to the bottom, you can look at there's a link to the photos. So you can actually look at the story and the photos. There was one woman, I love her, amazing woman. And she actually went through 2 years of the program. So in the first year, what was the wound? The second year, her wound was all around that her whole family thought she was a crazy woman. Like she just had all these crazy ideas and she never accomplished anything. And when we looked at her human design, we're like, no, you're meant to have multiple ideas. You're meant to be doing a lot. But so her fear was that she would die and everybody would think she was crazy. And so we actually took a tin lampshade, she put it on her head, because, you know, that whole crazy not wanting signals to get through. And she wore an old bathroom, and we went out into the desert to this abandoned house with trash and furniture on the front yard. And we photographed her there, and she really felt it. And I think by the end of her part of the photo shoot, she was like, I'm not buying into this anymore. My family can say whatever they want. I love my ideas. I love pursuing these things that seem impossible. I love having this success. So when we got to the next photograph, and we were actually, we went to Salem, Massachusetts to do the second round of photos, and we were photographing the witch and what that meant to you to be in your magic. And she had these amazing photos, and she stood there, and she actually had another woman challenge her during the event. And she stood there and she said, that's not about me. I'm going to be me. And I remember we were talking about how she was going to show up in the photos, and I was pushing her because, you know, and finally, yeah, that's my job. And finally she looked at me and she said, I just want to show up in my pretty dress and have fun. And we were like, yes, because some of the women were showing up, you know, in their full on queen, goddess, whatever. And she's like, I just want to have fun. And she took that and has applied that to everything in her life now. If it's not fun, let's not do it. Everything in her business became about, is this still bringing me joy? If not, I'm letting it go.
I love that.
It's just amazing. And imagine if we could all do that in our life and business.
I love that. Yeah. I personally, every year I pick a word and I stick to it. And fun has been picked a few times, and it's actually part of how I function. If I'm not enjoying it, I might sustain it for a minute or two, but it's not what I will scale. It's just not what I want to do.
Yeah. And they've done studies. The people who are the most successful, the healthiest, who live the longest and make the most money are happy people.
Yeah.
And they've actually tracked that. So what if we all lived our businesses through, how do I create more happiness in my business?
Yeah.
How do I create more happiness for my clients? How do I create more happiness in my life? Like, maybe that would change the world a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Julie, what is a book or podcast that we must either listen to or read?
Oh, so the book I'm reading right now, right here on my desk, is called Braiding Sweetgrass.
Okay.
By Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's this really beautiful, she's both Native American and a botanist. And so it's this really beautiful, thought-provoking work about how we walk on the planet and how we relate to Mother Nature. And I actually will read a chapter and then I'll put it down and walk away for a couple of weeks, because I can feel like my brain going, I need to let that one sink in a little bit. But it's really, she's a really good writer, really beautiful book.
I love that. So we'll put that in the show notes. So where do these women who are ready to engage with their divine feminine, engage with the concept of choices, even if they might not fully believe them just yet, and they're willing to have the courage to do the work to come out the other side, where do they find you?
Well, the first place is to start with jumping on my Facebook group. We have a public Facebook group. We do a lot of work in the Facebook group, a lot of engagement, a lot of sharing, and it's at Feminine Business Magic. And then to really make sure they can participate on all the days, but Wednesday is my very favorite day because we brag, and bragging is that first step to breaking the patterns that taught us we weren't important, that taught us we don't have something to say, that taught us to not share how great we are. And so that's Feminine Business Magic. They can also, once they're there, they can download some rituals to help them create their success. And then they can find out about all the other great things that we're doing in my community.
I love that. And you can always go to Julie Foucht, FOUCHT.com to also learn more about Julie. So Julie, thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you to the internet goddess to let us finish this interview. Any final comments or suggestions for our audience?
Oh, I love that. So it's spring. We can see the buds beginning to come out on the flowers. We can see the new life starting to come through the earth. And Source wants us to know that we have been in a period of gathering our energy. We've been in a period of being underground. And that the newness and the freshness we see in the world around us reflects the newness and freshness of who we are and who we are becoming to carry the next leg of our business. Be not afraid. We are supported. We are loved. You are supported. You are loved. You are ready to take the next big, wild, crazy step.
Awesome. I love that. That was an intuitive improv, no card reading or anything, straight from Julie or straight from Source through Julie. Thank you, Julie, so much for showing up, for tapping in, and for giving so much value to our audience.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Awesome. I just finished a great conversation with Julie, and it got me thinking about the importance of doing the work to growing your business. She talked about the way she does marketing with her clients who are women business owners who are trying to grow a six-figure business, and how important it is not only to tap into their divine strength, goddess self, but also to do what she calls the shadow work, where you really tap into that you're afraid of, that holds you back, that makes you play small. So I want you to make sure you watch and listen to this episode with Julie, because you too want to do the work to grow your business from a place of fun and joy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Masters in Clarity. If you loved today's show, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Share this episode with 2 people in your world, and as a gift, go to mastersinclarity.com/free to download free clarity resources. Join your host, Dolores Hirschmann, next time to continue forging a clear path to your impactful success.